morning and welcome to Channel 422 News. Today we'll be talking about the economic initiatives of JFK. If you don't know who JFK is, that is our president, John F. Kennedy. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jayla.
Thank you, Abdul, and welcome to Channel 422. As Abdul already told you, we're going to be talking about economic initiatives. What about economic initiatives? Well, one of the economic initiatives for JFK was trying to lower the price of steel companies, which raised each ton by $6 a ton because it would cause inflation. This caused major pressure for the steel companies, so they dropped their prices, and along with the stock market fell. Kennedy thought extra cash in taxpayers' wallet would stimulate the economy and eventually bring in tax revenues. However, that didn't happen, and the president's proposal became stuck in Congress. That is all I have right now. Reporting back to Abdul to see if he has more information.
Thank you, Jayla, for that important information. Now I'm going to turn it over to Jalen, who has more important information for us.
Thank you, Abdul. Now, as you can see, I am reporting to you live about JFK, raising the minimum wage while also adding Social Security. In 1963, unemployment was 60%, which made the president propose a cut in income taxes in 1963 from a range of 20 to 91% to 14 to 65%. He also proposed a cut in corporate tax from 52% to 47%. And guess what? 60% of Americans favor tax cuts. This means that the money that the corporations save from taxes they can use to expand their businesses, since the citizens are saving money from taxes. They may spend it at the corporations. So yeah, that's all the information I have for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for that, Jalen. But I would also like to mention in the 1963 Act that establishes a 2-year program to assist training additional teachers for the deaf. It authorizes an appropriation of $1.5 million annually to higher education institutes, which are approved as training centers for teachers of the deaf. Now it increases the loan authorization for college housing by $300 million for each of the 4 years beginning July 1st, 1961 through 1964, and increasing the limitations for other educational facilities by $30 million for each of the same 4 years. Anyways, that's all that we have today for Channel 422 News for the economic initiative part of JFK. And see you next week on Channel 422. Anyways, that's all we have today for Channel 422 News for the economic initiatives part of JFK. And we'll see you next week on Channel 422 News.
Good morning, Channel 422. Thank you, Margarita, for the updates on today's anti-priority programs. I am now live broadcasting from Texas, Dallas. As we are all thankful for JFK's effort, it seems that there is no pauses going on in reality. America is still faithful that the aim is not only to relieve the systems of poverty, but to cure it and above all to prevent it. Here we have 26 million Americans that do not have the income to afford a decent diet. Earlier I was speaking to a couple of people and was told that although Congress did pass the increase in minimum wage, it is not the ideal wage an American should have. $9.22 do not cover for putting order to keep food on their tables. The kids' education is a great risk. Americans are still hopeful but have no real process going on.
Hey Carol, you forgot to mention a couple of things, which were JFK also proposed food stamps and temporary assistance to needy families. Food stamps helped families pay for basic grocery store items, while temporary assistance to needy families helped give families with one-parent households cash payments, which was basically welfare.
Good morning, Channel 422. Today we're going into an important topic, JFK's anti-poverty programs. Let's take it to Karen. The White House trying to get a response on which programs Congress will pass. So far, Kennedy proposed Medicaid and Medicare. He wanted to expand Social Security benefits.
Advancement on the space program, as President John F. Kennedy presents a proposal to Congress requesting $7 billion to an already $9 billion funded space program. President Kennedy has mentioned time and time again that the space race was very important to the American public and the country's image. That, of course, is due to the fact that there's very vast differences in space achievements between us and the Soviet Union. It is well known that in 1957 the Soviets did launch a first satellite to orbit the Earth, and unfortunately very recently had made the first man orbit the Earth. This of course brings questioning to our space program, in which Kennedy believes that he can fix. Now we will play a segment of President Kennedy's speech to Congress highlighting how important this space program really is.
Dramatic achievements in space which occurred in recent weeks should have made clear to us all, as did the Sputnik in 1957, the impact of this adventure on the minds of men everywhere. Time for this nation to take a clearly leading role in space achievement, which in many ways may hold the key to our future on Earth.
In powerful words from Kennedy, he makes it clear his goal is for the space exploration. He would merely do not want to match their space achievements, to suppress them, and the call of youth and hope in their coming future that we excel in the space exploration. And the last time we leave the
America, this is your President John F. Kennedy here. I have made an organization called the Peace Corporation. With this corporation, I decided that it would help America's allies, such as Asia, Africa, Latin America, and many more. I have special volunteers who will go to these countries within their poor communities to help the communities and the local government come together to help remove garbage and polluted water, so the children will have a better life and a better chance to have a good opportunity in their future. Let's do this and work together to make America popular and great, and not only for America, but for the whole country as a whole and the whole world as a whole. Let's do this.
I'm here with a local who just tell me what him and his community is willing to do to make a change.
Yes, we're willing to work with John F. Kennedy, volunteer in our local government to remove garbage and provide clean water. My name is Peter Dobrosavich, reporting to you with Channel 422 News. We're talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis. We're coming to you and nearing the end of October, with the missile crisis pushing 11 days. On October 22nd, President Kennedy gave a speech stating a few things that shocked us all. Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev has placed missiles in Cuba only 90 miles away from our southeast shore, pointed directly at us. President Kennedy and Soviet leader Khrushchev are on a standoff, only a button away from releasing missiles on each other, possibly destroying each country. Missiles in Cuba was Nikita Khrushchev's response to the U.S. having missiles placed in Turkey. A blockade has been set in place against Cuba. Here we have a resident of the Chicago area. What's your name, sir?
My name is Harun.
How does it feel to be living in the uncertainty of the missile crisis?
It's really scary living in these days, knowing that missiles could be falling on us at any point. With the uncertainty of tomorrow, President Kennedy or the Soviet leader, they could do anything at any point. We wouldn't know until it happens. For now, I'm just praying that nothing happens. I'm trying to remember where the fallout shelters are and, have a fallout. I'm trying to build my own fallout shelter in my own home. So I don't think duck and cover procedures will really help us, but fallout shelters is probably the most we have.
Thank you. As we've heard, we have to remember safety procedures. Remember how to duck and cover, because anything is better than nothing. More houses are being built with fallout shelter than ever. You can even go buy do-it-yourself kits to build shelters. Know where fallout shelters are when you are out and about, such as the fallout shelter in this building behind me. Any building with a sign like this will have a fallout shelter for emergency cases. Stay alert at all times and stay safe. Thank you.
The Soviet action was in response to the refusal of American and British officials to allow Russia more say in the economic future of Germany. The U.S. government was shocked by the provocative Soviet move, and some presidential Harry S. Truman administration called for direct military response. Truman, however, did not want to cause World War III, instead ordered a massive assault of supplies in West Berlin.
The Berlin crisis started on June 24, 1948. The Soviet Union built the Berlin Wall, separating the communist East Germany from democratic West Germany. The Soviet Union blocked all the road and rail travel to and from the West Berlin, which was located within the Soviet zone of occupation in Germany.
Around the world, the Soviets were portrayed as international bullies, holding men, women, and children hostages in West Berlin and threatening them with starvation. The unbelievably successful American airlift also backfired against the Russians by highlighting the technological superiority of the United States. By the time the Soviets ended the blockade, West Germany had become separate and independent nation, and the Russian failure was complete.
Welcome to Channel 422 News. Today we will be discussing the Bay of Pigs invasion.
The Bay of Pigs invasion happened on January 1st, 1959.
In April 1961, the CIA launched a definitive launch, which is a full-scale invasion of Cuba. 14,000 American trained Cubans who left their homes when Castro took over. The invasion did not go well. Many Cubans welcomed Fidel Castro's 1959 overthrow of President Fulgencio Batista. Batista had been a corrupt and repressive dictator but was considered pro-American.
Did you know that Castro was considered such a threat to the U.S. interest that a secret American even tried to have him assassinated?
The plan that they had to knock out Castro was that Kennedy had inherited Eisenhower's CIA campaign to train and equip the guerrilla army of Cuban exiles. If all went according to plan, the campaign would spark an anti-Castro uprising on the island.
A group of Cubans took off from Nicaragua and they scared them of American B-26 bombers painted to look like stolen Cuban planes and conducted a strike against Cuban airfields.
On April 17th, the Cuban Exile Brigade began its invasion at an isolated spot on the island's southern shore known as the Bay of Pigs.
Almost immediately, the invasion was a disaster. The SIA had wanted to keep it as a secret for as long as possible, but a radio station on the beach broadcast every details of the operation to listeners across Cuba.
Before long, Castro's troops had pinned the invaders on the beach, and the exiles surrendered after less than a day of fighting. 114 were killed and over 1,100 were taken prisoner.
Hey, is your old TV not working? The sound isn't turning up and down anymore, and the picture is going in and out? Well, now you're in luck. Now you can get a Westinghouse TV. With that comes a good picture, good sound, lasts a long time. The kids will love it. Parents will love it. So come on down and get your very own Westinghouse TV.
Like that.
Come with me, and I'll show you what every one of you can do single-handed. Here. You can tune in this wonderful new Westinghouse television set with just one hand like this because it has the sensational new Westinghouse single dial control. There's no more fussing with several dials. You just turn this one dial and you're tuned in perfectly. Now, in the set that you're watching now, does a channel ever come in like this and give you only sound? Or, when the picture comes in clear like this, is the sound ever so hard to get that all you hear is this? Well, that never happens with this wonderful new Westinghouse set because of the miracle of Westinghouse synchro tuning. Picture and sound come in together just like that. And once tuned, this set stays locked in tune. Now, here's something that will really amaze you. Here's the size of the screen in most table models. Now, let's compare it with this new Westinghouse screen. There. Now that's quite a difference, isn't it? Engineering improvements give you a huge 17-inch rectangular screen in this wonderfully compact new Westinghouse set. And it gives you a black glass tube, which means that you get a clear, sharp picture even in daylight. Now, this set also has a built-in antenna, and that means that in many areas there's no installation of any kind. You save the entire cost of it. So why put up with a set that isn't really up to date and has an old-fashioned small screen when you can get this wonderful new 17-inch Westinghouse set at a modest price? Just ask your dealer for the Westinghouse Linwood. There's no other set in its price range that compares with it. You can be sure if it's Westinghouse.
A fallout shelter is a small space specifically designed to protect people from radioactive trash or fallout resulting from nuclear explosions. Many such shelters were made as civil defense measures during the Cold War. A basic fallout shelter consists of shields that reduce gamma ray exposure by a factor of 1,000. A practical fallout shield is 10 half-inch thickness of black dirt, reducing gamma rays by approximately 10 millivolts. Glass doors are designed to absorb the shock wave of a nuclear blast, bending them and then returning to their original shape. Inhabitants should plan to remain sheltered for at least 2 weeks, then work outside for gradually increasing amount of time to 4 hours a day and breathe.
No, wait, what do you mean? Darker? You mean darker?
Now, right now, where should you be? Where should we be right now? Computer place? The counseling office, because you can't stand in the
The
hallway.
bulk of radioactivity in nuclear accident fallout is more than that in weapons fallout. A good table of nuclei that provided by the Korean Atomic Energy Research Institute includes the fission yields of different nuclei. From this data, it is possible to calculate the isotopic mixture in the fallout.